Hello and welcome. I'm Bailey with Antiquaria, and today I'm going to flip through my entire 2022 planner with you. I'll show you the details and also discuss a bit about what worked for me and what I'm changing as I am making my 2023 planner this year. On the very first page, I decided I wanted to do a cover page, title page for 2022, and I pulled out a lot of ephemera and even a beautiful calligraphy envelope that I had received from a friend that I obviously held on to. So it was a really great way to incorporate some of those things from friends that are far away. I included a quote, work to become, not acquire, which I felt like really set the tone, for the whole project and for the year for me. I also used things like ticket ephemera, as well as washi stickers and little letter stickers to paste on the word diary. I am happy with how this page turned out, and to be honest, when I had first jumped in last year, I kind of just winged it. I had yet to really watch any videos for inspiration. I just knew at that point that I really wanted to make my planner. You'll see on this page the table of contents, which I've we'll just be filling out at the very end of the year as I work through and finish out this planner. So I started adding in some of my yearly things, but it's just going to stay simple and clean and be used as a reference. When I did start researching, I found quite a few people doing a word of the year at the very beginning of their planners, and I thought that was an awesome idea. I love the idea of manifesting sort of a tone for the year and, kind of trying to meditate on that as you start your planner. So for 2022, my word was calm, and I created this spread and included the definition as well as maybe what the word means to me, and then journaled a bit about how I envisioned using that word and how it might carry me through the year. As part of the spread, I drew the clouds with a micron, and I added in some Tombow brush to that, and then I just included washi tapes and some rub-on stickers, as well as more of the little letter stickers, which you'll see as an overwhelming theme throughout this planner. This next section is a future log, which, as I started watching people, really seemed to be an important part of the planner. So I made this for myself, and you'll see it spans what would be 1, 2, 3 pages, 4 pages, with part of the middle page cut out to make all of the months. I did not end up using this, so I will not be including something like this in this particular way in my 2023 planner. However, I enjoyed, getting started, and this worked out, and I like it, but it just did not see myself flipping back. Since I make my planner all at once, I didn't really see having much value in adding dates here when I could just pop over to the appropriate month and add them on the actual day that something's going to happen. So I will be changing this for this coming planner that I'm making. Flipping on to the next page, you'll see that this is totally blank. I left this blank to do a year in photos at the end of the year. So I will be printing out photos from each month, my very favorite photo of my daughter, of maybe myself, but mostly it'll be my daughter throughout the year. And I'm excited to see this come together as we wind down this year. And so I just intentionally left a space in the front of my planner for this type memory keeping type spread, and I just sort of made a pencil note and then moved on to the next page. Here, following that empty spread, I have really where I started doing a lot of my journaling for looking at the previous year and thinking about and analyzing that year, and then also looking forward to the next year. So I made a spread for 2021 and included a space to put wins and some favorite things and projects I made, and how we spent our last day of the year and stuff like that. So it's a really neat place to sort of contain all the things that the end of the year brought up for me, and have something where I can keep track of all of it, as well as the next page being a beginning to 2022. So it was somewhere for me to put down my intentions for the year and what I hope for the year and what I wanted to work on, and also how we spent the first day of 2022. Moving along, you'll see that I have a correspondence page and a gardening page here. Really, both of these pages were something that I liked the idea of, but I didn't utilize really like I had wanted to. I struggled to find time to do correspondence this year, and I just really found myself not turning onto this page. However, I really like the way that this page looks, so I would very much copy this in the future if I wanted to keep track of something like that. And then the gardening page, actually, I am planning to do something actually more expansive for my gardening in 2023 that includes maybe like a full spread or a few pages spread, so that I can keep track of everything in that realm kind of together, as opposed to just having this one ideas planning page. Those pages consisted of what I had initially put in my yearly setup for 2022. And so now we're looking at starting my monthly setups, which I did all before the 2022 started. And so this is January, and this is how I kind of templated each month to look. So as we flip through, you'll kind of see that they have different kind of styles, but they all are formatted pretty much the same in terms of there's a page 2 weeks on the first page, and then there's a middle section that has a bit of a barn door kind of thing, and then the next page is the last 2 weeks of the month. And then in the center page that on this example has January, you'll see that I have more ephemera and mixed media, and then also quotes that I wanted to remember, and I included some pockets, and also just some space in order to journal as I move through the month. So leaving myself also space to add in some of our favorite moments or books that I'm reading or places that we visited, or just little things that maybe my daughter said that I want to remember. I have a bit of a collaged page or a space to keep track of that's not in, the weekly planner days. So it's almost like a highlights area of the month. So when I go back to flip through it, it's a bit more of a memory keeping section for myself. And as I work through the planner and the months, I have space on the bottom for my more to-dos that aren't associated with each day, and then I also have plenty of space within each particular day to write all of the things that I need to get done and check them off. And then we have February, and it's like I said, set up very similarly, just with different ephemera. Just flipping through here quickly through each month, you can see how I kind of templated it, and the things that I changed were the theme and the color, and maybe the kind of lettering that I used for the numbers and lettering I used for the months. And I had a lot of fun using, here in May, I am using some of my daughter's artwork and made it kind of like a collage. And I'm using just different, like pulling together different stickers and washi tape and ephemera that I have to create, kind of style for each month. So it made it really, really fun to use each month because you'd get kind of like a new, fresh theme and something to look at each time we got to flip the calendar. So it was really cool to be able to, like watch videos as I was making this and kind of get different ideas for what themes I wanted to use. And then having it be more templated meant that the time that it took me to actually kind of get the bones of each month set up was fairly minimal as I worked through this. So it didn't take me just an enormous amount of time to work through the whole planner at once. I would say that, making it was a bit time consuming, but that it, once I had the idea and the template, like I was able to roll through the months pretty quickly. And moving into 2023, I will absolutely be doing the same thing for myself. So I'll be templating each month and then creating them with a theme, just the way I did in 2022. The next section that follows my months is a section of seasons. So winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And each one of the months, I sort of included the same things that I wanted to remember, like rhythms for the season and how I felt and some of our favorites and maybe what colors I was drawn to or were prominent that season, as well as activities and maybe places we went. And also there's some space potentially to fill in as well with like a favorite photo or ephemera, like tickets or something that we had during that season. So, trying to give myself more like prompts to journal about up front and space to do that. I will say that this section is one that like I did not use as the year progressed. I did not find myself flipping to it and wanting to fill that in as the seasons passed us by. However, as the year is wrapping up, I'm finding a renewed interest in doing that. And so I'm really happy that I included that and made that template for myself, because now as I go through and work through filling in my planner at the end of 2022, I will be looking back through photos and some of my journals, writings, and filling back in those seasons. And I do plan to include this in 2023, so long as I find that looking back, journaling sort of reflection on the seasons to be something I enjoy doing at the end of the year. So more to use as a journaling at the end of the year than for me throughout the year, season by season. The next section in my planner is a meal planner and how I set that up. And this starts with a page that's called Gather Around Your Table. And it's a place for me to record my goals. And then, once we have favorites or what's in the freezer, kind of like like an overall tracking on this first page. And then I set up each page after that in exactly the same way, so that it will include space for my grocery list and space for planning the meals that we have each day, as well as things that we have in the refrigerator and things that we have coming in and out of the house, so in and out of the garden, canned goods, that kind of thing. And overall, I have to say that this was like a real mixed bag for me using it. I fell off the bandwagon in the middle of the year, but have recently gotten back on it and do plan to include this in my 2023 planner because I do think that it's actually incredibly helpful for me to use. And so when I did use it, it was incredibly successful. So it's just about including it in actually a different spot. So in 2023, which I'll show you once I start working through that with you, together with you, I'll show you that I will actually be including that same layout pretty much, but with the monthly spread. So essentially it'll be January, the weeks, the memory keeping, and then you'll flip, and on the very next page it'll be my meal plan, grocery list and everything for January, and then February will follow, the calendar will follow the memory keeping, and then the February meal planning will follow. So instead of me having to flip back to a whole nother section in my planner for the meal planner, it will be right there with everything that's already going on in the month. Directly following the meal planner in 2022 is the zero waste page layout, as well as the canning and preserving layout. These were a bit of an afterthought and something that I realized after I'd pretty much created my planner that I wanted to include and maybe think about as the year progressed. And I will say that this was something that I thought about in January of this past year, and I really haven't flipped to these ever since. But I am going to be doing a version of this, probably condensed to one page in 2023, because now that I'm reflecting back on the year, I definitely want to include some of the things that have been successful, as well as look back in my notes on what the garden created and what I canned and preserved for 2022, so that I know what to include in my meal plan as I plan in 2023, and just to keep a record year to year on, what the garden was producing and some of the successes and possibly failures of that. Flipping here to the last page that I had pre-made last year in my planner, we have a Christmas memory keeping spread. And I decided to add this and include it because at the time I was making the planner, it was Christmas 2021, and I was, in the thick of all of the different things that we do and traditions and gifts we were giving family and friends, and just, memories of my daughter over Christmas. And so I thought it'd be really special to include that, anticipating for 2022 Christmas, and have a place for some of those things to land as that season came to be, which it is now. So now that we are sort of entering the holiday season, I am starting to use this spread, and will definitely be including this in the 2023 planner, because I think it's just a really fun place to kind of prompt you, maybe to include photos or special memory or special gifts that I'm making for loved ones and that kind of thing. It will be nice to look back each year and to remember, what that year held. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to spend flipping through this planner that I lovingly created this past year. And I hope that it was inspiring to you to maybe make your planner this year, or if you're already making your planner, maybe you got a new idea from mine. And I want to invite you back next time when I will be starting my 2023 planner with all of my yearly setup. So join me then, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. We would love for you to join us here each week, so don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can find out as soon as our next video drops. Find us over on Instagram at Antiquary Design, and if you found this video helpful, hit the like button or comment and let us know. Thanks again!